In this second part of the gastrointestinal examination, I'm going to examine specifically for splenomegaly and examine for Todd's spleen. I start by inspection. I'm standing at the end of the bed and I'm looking in the left upper quadrant to see if I can see any evidence of a mass in the left upper quadrant. I do not see any mass. I'm going to do percussion to see if I can find an enlarged spleen. The spleen enlarges downwards and across, and may actually cross the midline. So I'm going to start with gentle percussion, starting in the right lower quadrant. And percussing all the way across to the rib margin. I can find no abnormal percussion note there. There are three specific methods for percussion of the spleen. You can percuss in Trobe space, you can percuss at Castell's point, and you can percuss using Nixon's method. Let's start by looking at Trobe space. Now, once again, I identify the suprasternal notch, the second rib space, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm in the sixth intercostal space, and I draw an imaginary line into the anterior axillary line, come all the way down, and come back along the costal margin. This represents Trobe space, and I'm going to percuss in here. And that's resonant. Dullness in Trobe space indicates the possibility of splenomegaly. I'm also going to percuss at Castell's point. So once again, I'm in the anterior axillary line, and this time I'm at the last rib space. I'm going to ask Todd to take a deep breath in and out. And when I do that, I'm looking for a change in the percussion note during inspiration as the spleen moves down to cover Castell's point, and the percussion note would go from resonant to dull. The third method is Nixon's method, and for this I need Todd to roll towards me. So if you come halfway towards me, please, Todd. Okay. Once again, I have the anterior axillary line, and this time I'm going to identify the lower costal margin and estimate the midpoint. I'm now going to percuss across towards the anterior axillary line. And I'm percussing for at least 8 centimeters. Any change from resonant to dull within 8 centimeters suggests that the spleen has enlarged into this area, which would be a positive test by Nixon's method. If you could lie flat again for me, Todd. In terms of palpating the spleen, given that the spleen enlarges downwards and across, it's also important to start in the right lower quadrant and move about 2.5 centimeters with each breath. So I'm watching Todd breathe. And take a deep breath in for me, Todd. And out. And again. And out. And again. And out. You'll be able to read off other methods for palpation of the spleen, including a hooking maneuver. These do not appear to add to the ability to detect splenomegaly. Finally, if an enlarged spleen is found, it's important to listen over the area of the enlarged spleen for friction rubs in the area of the spleen. Given the fact that Todd's spleen is not enlarged, I cannot hear any friction rub. So that concludes the specific examination for splenomegaly.